I will, I'm going to give you all a heads up. Things have changed a little bit. I'm going to have to get through the opening presentation and I will have to leave the meeting. I apologize for that.
Okay.
We will forgive you. All right, whenever you are ready, Adam.
Do we want to say?
Okay. All right, so we're going to call to order. We're going to do Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All I can see is my butt. Okay.
All right. Do we have the first slide up of the presentation of the agenda?
We do.
Now.
Yes, it's up there.
It's up.
Okay. All right. All right. So I'm just going to run down through the agenda real quick. We'll have acceptance of the agenda. Public comments are spread over new business and old business. Anybody who wants to speak will have 3 minutes to speak, and they can bank that time if they don't use it all for other items. We'll get through director's comments, minutes, then we'll go through the treasury report. Vicki, can you elaborate on what authorized signers on bank account is?
We need to add Nancy Pope to the, take Bill off and add Nancy to the bank accounts. I've got the paperwork already here for everybody to sign. I was hoping maybe Jalen could actually bring it over to you and get it signed.
I can do that.
Okay. Then we can,
Okay.
perfect.
Absolutely. All right. Then we'll go through bills payable for branch reports. Branch reports, we all get branch reports and we get to see all the good work that's done by all the branches. And we appreciate everything everybody does. It's a very good insight for us. We appreciate that. New business, we will be covering tuition reimbursement, the tuition reimbursement policy, and there is a proposal for that, an update to that policy. And I do need to say right now there are existing agreements for tuition reimbursement, and those existing agreements are not affected by what's being proposed. Let's see, and then we're also we had talked about meeting site options if we wanted to get around to all the branches. We'll be discussing that. Then we'll open to public comment for non-agenda items, and then we will go into closed session pursuant to 610.021.2 regarding real estate.
Great.
All right, so I guess motion to accept the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
I will second. And we're all in favor, I guess.
Yeah, we're all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. That was a good way to go.
All right, I'm going to need to turn the meeting over to Jay and to Vicki, and go. It's good to see y'all. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
sir.
Bye.
I'm just gonna close. Okay, all to you, Jalen.
You're on.
1 second.
Oh, hit it.
That's one way to get rid of him, right? Just
Maybe you could introduce yourself with music.
right. Yes. You know.
We can all have an entry song.
That was impressive.
And you know what, that thing always seems to message me at just the perfect time.
Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah.
All right, so we are on, let's accept this agenda, public comments, we have
No
no
public?
public. So
Okay.
that makes that part easier. Director's comments, Jim?
All right.
Turn that to you.
Just a quick rundown here of some of the fun things we've been doing. Since our last meeting, I met with the Rotary Club and here in Camdenton on April 24th and did a presentation about the library and all the good things we do, and that worked out really well. The next day, we had several of them in here getting their library cards and had some things they needed to work with Coley on making some copies for their businesses, large copies and that sort of thing, so that worked out really well. I held a branch managers meeting on May the 8th. Here again, I've made it a practice to try at least once a month to have a meeting with all of the branch managers since we're spread out over the entire county. And there we talked about the current issues that they have, initiatives, a little bit of everything. As you can imagine, with 6 libraries, there's something different for everyone. And you know, each area has different clientele, so it gets pretty interesting. Just it's nice to have them all comparing notes and talking about some of the challenges and the successes that they have. So I'm going to continue to do that. I'm hoping to have one more before we do our summer kickoff. Probably within the next 2 weeks, we'll try and have another branch managers meeting. I did do some shows with Lake TV. Again, the intent being that as I do these shows, I'm having the branches pull books that pertain to the individual shows, and then, you know, I recommend that people come to the library and they can follow up on, you know, if I've piqued their interest in the show. And for those, I've been kind of doing a lot of famous Missourians. We've done one on Walt Disney. The last one was on Yogi Berra, not the fuzzy one, the other one, yeah. And then the next one will be coming out. It'll be Joseph Pulitzer. And, you know, there's a whole list of long and distinguished Missourians, and again, the branches have done a great job of pulling all sorts of great resources that we have here in the libraries, and they have them set up on a display for people when they come in. So, you know, it was kind of fun. It's kind of fun doing that. One of the suggestions that the board made was that whether or not if we could add a link on the Camden County website, the actual commission website, for Camden County, and they worked really well with us and had that up in just a couple of days. So if you go to Camden County's website, there's a drop down there, and it takes a direct link to our link with the library. So that was a great suggestion. I don't know who made it, but
I did, and I was gonna ask if that ever got done.
it did get done.
Thank you.
Yes, okay, great.
Take that one off.
And keep up the good work, by the way, yeah.
I know these guys need to keep
Yeah,
up the
they need more to do, right? The Camdenton branch of the library, on April the 19th, we brought in the seniors from Camdenton High School, brought them through and gave them a tour of the library and all of the things that we're doing. This week has been an interesting week. We've had 340 kids, 3rd and 4th graders, coming through and getting tours of the library and all the neat things that we have. We've kept Mark pretty busy back there with the makerspace and Karen out front here, you know, with all the different neat things that the kids can, you know, the challenges that are here and things that they can do. And that's been working out really well. Again, kudos to the staff, you know, providing these tours and all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been fun. Also, April the 19th, here again, Mark, our tech guy, he's been working behind the scenes on a lot of grants, and he was able to secure a technology ladder grant for us to purchase some computers. These are the computers that the patrons come in and get to use at our libraries.
Awesome.
And this was for, you know, we put in for 44, but, you know, we're like everybody else. We're there trying to get what we can, and at least out of the 44, they granted us 31 new computers for our libraries.
Way to go,
Yeah,
Mark.
so-
Thank you.
Yes, and I mean, that came to a grant of $29,501. So yeah, so you know, he's saving us money all the time. You know, so we'll keep him around another month until you guys meet again. All right?
At least another week.
All right,
Yeah.
sound good? Okay. Again, just for your information, some of the things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. We have a huge ground source heat pump here. This building is 20?
It'll be 24 years old, October 1st is when we moved in.
Right, 24 years old, so you can imagine those of you that have homes here, there's always seems to be something breaking. Well, we've got a 24-year-old air conditioning system that we're trying to keep up and running. We replaced ground source heat pump. Fortunately, we had a backup, but that took a little bit of, expertise, so we had to contract some of that work to have them come in and do it. They're not, they're huge things. It looks like the nuclear plant back there in the back room, but we managed to get it fixed and the air conditioning is working, so.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
so
feels
far.
really good.
Yeah, so far so good, yes. Also, the fan motor system, like I said, there's 25 units in here, and one burnout, as we talked about back, I think in February. 2 more have gone out, and so we replaced those, and we're doing what we can to source those things from, where we can buy them in bulk, because we're going to have to be replacing them probably on a regular basis. The septic system at Climax Springs decided it didn't want to work, so we had to replace that. Every morning I wake up and I think, what today? And I go home and my wife says, well, how'd things go with the books at the library today? And I said, we have books? It's kind of, oh my God, so there's always something, but we've got that handled out there. So Climax Springs now has an up and running septic system again. I have been doing these Chapter and Chatter Cafe shows out of the library here, and those have been going real well, getting a lot of positive feedback. We did one here on May the 9th. The topic of that show was the Federalist Papers, and we talked about the role of the federal government. Again, a lot of fun. We're getting some good attendance. People come in. When we have those things, I encourage the public, come in. We have them at 8 o'clock in the morning. You can go to our website. It'll show you the dates. I think our next one is June the 6th. But come on in here. We'll serve you a cup of coffee, and we'll talk about the topic at hand. The next one's going to be the history of education.
Ooh,
So
that'll be
that ought to
good.
be a fun one too. And here again, on these, what we're doing is when we do the show, a week beforehand, I send it out to all the branches, and the branches are pulling from our resources the very things that I'm using to develop the shows. So the Federalist Papers, we had all kinds of great books pulled on Adams and Madison and the Constitutional Convention, and the Federalist Papers and anti-Federalist Papers. So again, my intent is to pique people's interest and have you all come in here and any of our branches and utilize the library to pursue it a little further. I want you all to be better experts at it than I am, and that doesn't take much most of the time, so yeah. But we're still continuing to do those. Like I say, the next one will be June the 6th. That'll be at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's a Thursday morning, and the topic will be the history of education. The big thing we have coming up is our summer reading program, and that's going to be a big deal, and a lot of fun things planned. We're going to have, it's going to be here at the Camdenton Library out here on our parking lot, if the weather permits, and we'll have music, we're going to have entertainment, there's going to be all sorts of crafts and vendors, we're going to have food trucks here. Staff has done just a great job of organizing this whole program, and it's the kickoff event. And again, it's the intent is to get the kids in Camden County, reading during the summer months. And we've got all kinds of great prizes have been collected by our branch managers going around to different businesses. Any businesses that still want to donate anything for this program, the kids read a certain amount and they get a prize. And it could be anything from free pass to go to Bridal Cave, or any number of different things. There are whole sorts of great things that the staff has been running up for this. And so the event runs from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. on June the 1st. So right here in Camden County at the library, be a great time, you know. The weather's finally breaking, and we'd really appreciate as many people as can to come on by. It ought to be a fun day, okay? Yesterday, the last thing I have is yesterday I had the opportunity to go up to the Osage Beach Senior Center, and I visited with them for a while. They even provided me a free lunch, which was a good deal, you know. I was a little worried, you know, they looked how old I was. I was afraid they were gonna put me on the X-Bus and off I'd go, but, you know, yeah, they were really nice, and I'm gonna be doing what I can to try and partner with them a lot. We have some great programs here for seniors, large print books. We go out and we visit people that are, you know, can't get out themselves and deliver them books. We visit all the nursing homes that we can, all the big ones, and it's just a great program. So I'm looking forward to working with the senior center as well. And that's all I've got. Sounds good.
Can I make
Questions?
have a couple of questions or comments?
Sure, absolutely.
With the summer reading program, are the adults having their summer reading program also?
Yes.
Could you address that for a moment?
Yeah, basically this program is set up for everyone. And it's kind of interesting. In the past we've seen that, you know, we have more people live in the Camdenton and Osage Beach areas, and like when we're having people sign up for the programs, we've partnered our 6 libraries. We've got 2 libraries each that partner together, and the drawings that we're going to have for signing up for these things and the rewards are going to be drawn on those local groups that, you know, so it might be Stoutland and Osage Beach together. I'm not real sure how they broke them out, but yes, adults can sign up for this as well, which would be wonderful. We're like I say, it's just a great initiative to try and get people involved, and yes, it works for kids and adults both. So yeah, thank you. I forgot to say that.
Yeah, and then my second question, Mark, if you would be so kind. You do a lot of presentations, that was brought up, Jim brought it up, that you do a lot of presentations to school children. Could you just briefly touch on what you instruct them on?
Yeah, we give access to the technology, the websites, and show them what they need to get started, and just provide a good backbone for that.
You know, and
Thank you.
he doesn't like
Thank
to
you.
brag on himself a whole lot.
Yeah.
But what he is great at, he's wonderful working with the kids, and you know, I'm one of them, because this stuff, you know, these we have these 3D printers and these what's the thing that cuts wood?
The CNC.
CNC. Yeah, we have all these different things that work back there, and it's been wonderful. Like this week, we've had 340 kids in here, and he's been showing them all the magical things that can happen and that you can develop and make, and the interest is huge. And we are working right now. We have them here in Camdenton and also in Osage Beach. I'd like to see us expand that to maybe the next one up at Sunrise Beach, see what we can do. But yeah, the program is pretty amazing when you look at it. And I came out there the other day, and there was a young man sitting there with Mark, and I was peeking over his shoulder. I said, "What are you making?" He said, "I'm making an articulating arm for a robot." And I'm like,
Wow.
I was playing with dirt when I was his age, you know, so yeah, it's impressive. And you know, Mark doesn't brag on himself enough, but you know, he's taking these kids, and I'm seeing future rocket scientists and everybody else sitting in there, and he has a great way of explaining to them in simple terms and sharing with them the different software programs and how to make it happen. And it's amazing to me every day. I can't wait to go out and see what they're doing next. So yeah, good job.
I think the whole library system needs to be complemented, though. I mean,
Yes.
Chloe, with you getting all the information out in between the pages and all of the programs that are going on at the library, and I think this new initiative to get the word out has just really blossomed, which has been great. So
I did a
continue the
Wednesday,
good work.
I was out at Max Creek Wednesday, and I was just amazed at the crafts that have been done through the winter are going to be used for the summer reading program, and it just flows into one another.
Oh, yeah.
And just good heart of the community. So I don't know if we make a consistent effort to go out to the outlying libraries, but I think they need all the recognition they deserve.
Yes,
Absolutely,
yes.
absolutely. And they're doing a great job working with the schools and the school kids. And like I say, it's kind of interesting, during the year, we're working with the schools, but then in the off-season, that's where our libraries really pick up and start working with these kids. And it's amazing the things that they do.
So thank you all.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
thank you.
I have just one comment also. Last month, you were busy printing like alligator clips
That was for the third and fourth grade.
for the tours. And I'm wondering how many people were so impressed that the kids are coming back now, really interested in what you did.
There's a big surge in visitors after these tours. All the kids come in after school to start using that now that they're aware of it.
Yeah, I have to laugh because when he does his little tours, he says, any questions? And, well, can I come back this afternoon? And there you are, I'm thinking, we've created a monster, but it's been fun, and again, some of the things that these 3D printers can do, Mark was telling me the other day, a piece broke on one of the 3D printers. So he took the broken piece and set it down, and they scanned it, and he made another one.
No way.
Yeah.
Prepared our
Wow.
printer. Yeah, it is recorded,
Yeah,
you
so,
prepared our
those of you out there that
3D
have, if you're like me and you're tinkering with something, working on your dishwasher or whatever, and it breaks, and you've got that little plastic piece, and you're thinking, well, that's done. No, not necessarily, you might be surprised what we can do. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's pretty amazing.
That's great.
And Mark, did I hear you say the other days that somebody had a 3D printer that was making another 3D printer?
Yeah, the brand that we have, Prusa, most of the pieces are 3D printed. So the guy has a warehouse full of 3D printers, printing out printers for himself.
Wow. That's almost scary.
Yeah, like I say, this is like, you see why we have him here, but yeah, it's impressive, so, thank you. There he is.
They're impressed too.
Right,
I call that a shout out for you,
yeah,
Mark.
that's a shout out.
That was a
That would
shout
be
out for you.
appropriate.
That's right.
Sorry.
Well, that's all I've got, gang, so, thank you.
Give me a second to turn my damn phone off.
I don't know, I kinda like it.
Crazy train,
Yeah.
it's appropriate.
Right.
Yeah, I find it pretty, it usually gets some raised eyebrows when I'm
Yes,
in public.
exactly.
And the da is belched from Crudes.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so minutes. I don't have a copy of the last week's or last month's minutes in front of me because I somehow can't get on the internet.
Okay.
So last month, has everybody had a chance to look over the minutes?
Yes.
Okay. I do have one question on the minutes, which goes to the treasurer's report. It says here, staff members from Camdenton County Library and Osage Beach Library worked in a promotional program at the Ross Dress for Less store in Osage Beach, resulting in $4,096 in donations to the library. I couldn't find anything.
We just received the check yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
they tell us what it's going to be, and if it wasn't yesterday, it was the day before, we just received the check from them.
Okay. So
And it
that'll
was
show
that
up.
amount. It'll show up in May's.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Mhm.
I was wondering where I am. Okay.
Well, you guys look at that stuff pretty close, don't you?
That's what we want.
Yeah,
Yes,
there you go.
absolutely.
All right, so if nobody has an issue with the minutes from last month, someone want to make a motion to accept?
So moved.
Okay,
I will second it.
perfect.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
So treasurer's report, got that cleared up. Nate, you want to say anything about the treasurer report?
Well, I'm going to need a motion, of course, to approve the treasurer's report first. Did anybody have any questions about the treasurer report?
Nope, mine was
Okay.
answered.
All right, then if I could have a motion to approve that.
I shall make a motion.
Second.
Okay, and then I need a motion to remove Bill Munhausen's name and add Nancy Pope's name to our bank accounts.
Okay, I will make a motion for that.
Right?
We
Second.
lost Bill and we gained Nancy.
Okay.
And I'll say aye to both of those.
Aye,
Okay.
aye.
All ayes?
All ayes.
I do have a question though, speaking of Nancy. Is her name on the trustee email thing? Because she did not receive those the
PowerPoint.
information.
I received the 4 resources that Adam sent, but I don't recall the information that you sent, Becky.
You didn't get any of the information I sent you?
Oh, yeah, that was great stuff.
Okay, I just used the same thing. I'll try it again to send it.
Yeah, we'll just have to make sure that Nancy's in the group for the library board. You know, I know you have the email address because I've
Yes.
watched stuff come back and forth. You know,
Yeah,
just make
I
sure that
s-
you're in the group.
I'll make sure, Nancy, that you are on both of those
Okay.
lists. Sorry about that.
Well, it can be my ineptness on the computer. I mean, there is that liability there.
I'll just double check to make sure that you're on all of them. Okay, and then bills payable. Any questions about the bills payable? Were they self-explanatory?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I like that. I like the explanation, and
All right.
it's very good.
Thank you.
A lot of this stuff is repetitive, but sometimes, there are a few things on there, something unique each month.
Yeah, like, replacing the blowers.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Having the septic systems pumped out or whatever.
Yeah. Yep. So, motion to accept the bills payable?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay.
And then, okay, thank you.
Branch reports. Adam had asked a couple of months ago to have them standardized, and did he ask for standardized to Max Creek? Or was it,
He was looking at, I think, Stoutland's, but he did say that they did not have to be standardized to that, just something that they could all use the same.
okay, and they're pretty close, they've gotten a lot better as far as standardization, and, Adam and I are both happy, I know that. I haven't talked to everybody else about it. But I do have some questions, and Stoutland branch being the second smallest branch we have.
I think that Climax Springs and Stoutland are the same buildings, they're built on the same plan, so yes, they are the smallest branches.
Okay. So looking at this, Stoutland had 616 people come through the door. Now, as they walk through the doors, it counted, or is that people that come up and?
No, we have door counters on the building,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so 616 people walked in the door. 2.76% were for children's programs.
Okay.
Okay. Osage Beach being the largest, 0.61% was for children's programs. So I guess in one way, a big shout out to Stoutland for having the largest percentage of children's programs actually activated. And the question is what are they doing that everybody else can learn from? Osage Beach had 1.62%.
Well, Osage Beach is I don't think that you can, I guess, the most people that come through Osage Beach are not all for programs. A lot of people come in there, they have a good circulation, much more than circulation than the smaller branches.
Right.
And they have more computers, more public access computers, which are used a lot.
Right.
So that's probably the greater portion of.
Well, same here.
Yes. Now, Max Creek, if you notice, had a little bit higher door count because I think that's a lot of staff going in and out.
Okay.
Okay. I never really thought about relating the door count to the,
How many are for
to the
children?
programs.
Yeah.
I thought more about it might relate more to the circulation, because usually if a patron is there for a program, whether it's an adult program or a children's program, they're going to check books out.
Right.
So I just never thought about relating it that way. That's a good point.
Thank you.
But I guess you could also look at it from the standpoint of what percentage, if you have 50 kids at Stoutland and you have 500 kids at Osage Beach, it's a percentage of what?
No, that-
In other words, the numbers are,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
kind of, it's a percent of the total amount coming in.
In the
there.
door,
And
and-
so that kind of skews it as well, in that if you have more kids coming in to the Stoutland branch and a small amount of adults using Stoutland, but then we have this huge number of adults using the Osage Beach branch in comparison.
They're hard to compare.
Yeah,
Like,
and we're open to suggestions, but it's hard to get your
you're not
arms around.
comparing the same things. Like Stoutland, they probably should have less children coming in due to the fact that Miss Marie goes over to the school.
Okay.
Okay, now, at Climax Springs, used to have a very high number of children coming in because the school bus would drop them off right there. They no longer do that. So the amount of children that come into that library has dropped significantly.
You make a very good point there too, as well, is that some of our programs, we go to them, and so it wouldn't count.
Right. Yeah, it wouldn't count
Yeah,
on these
a
reports,
report. Yeah, so,
But Marie did have a good month in April.
yes,
She did have more programs than.
yes,
than
and hats off to her.
In the smaller
Yes,
libraries,
very
it's
much
hard
so.
to find space for the programs, which we are trying to do right now to more or less rearrange and get some more space so that they can not only add to their collection, but they can also add to their programming.
Right.
One of the
Yeah.
things too, I've been following door counts since December. Every single place has gone up again this month except for one of the locations. So that is great.
Yeah.
More and more
Snowbirds are
people
back.
coming in all the time to
Yeah.
the libraries.
Mhm. Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Answer your question?
Well, yeah, but still, a shout out to Stoutland. Thanks for what you're doing. Anybody else have anything on the branch reports? I think they're looking good. Numbers are going up. People are being more involved. Any other questions or comments on branch reports?
Only thing I can say is that I am still riding herd on each and every one of the branches for outreach. And you'll notice in the reports that they are including, you know, the number of people that they've taken the time out of their week or their busy schedules to go out and hunt somebody down and say, hey, come check out my library. And they are doing a great job of that. All of our 6 of our libraries are doing a great job of getting out there and
Good.
trying to spread the word. So,
Good.
yeah.
All right, motion to accept branch reports?
I don't think we do.
We don't need a motion.
No, don't need a motion, all right. Sorry, I knew it is.
That's okay.
So, new business, employees subsection tuition reimbursement. That's up to Mary Pat now, right?
To me?
Yeah.
No?
No, but I'm ready to speak on it, but I'll let somebody else introduce it.
Do we have that before, we were going to discuss, is this part of the branch thing? Moving our meetings around?
I think that's.
It's on the last,
that's next.
the
That's
next
next
one?
item.
Okay.
So this, the
Yeah.
tuition reimbursement is first on the
Okay.
agenda before that.
Okay. Can you bring up my,
PowerPoint?
yeah, my PowerPoint?
If Adam put it on here, I would be more than happy to.
While you're looking for this, I just seen something on here that we are going to need, each of you have an oath of office that you signed whenever you were sworn in. I need a copy of that. We're gonna, and before long, we're gonna have to fill out our state aid application, and it asks that question on there, when the term expires. So
Okay.
I could get copies of that. I appreciate it. Thank you.
There's Adam's need a copy of it.
I
Yes,
will need a copy of it.
Adam has mine, but I can give you another copy. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I don't see, I suppose I should point it that way. Yeah, it's not on here, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I sent it to everybody, so if you can,
Do you need
call
this?
up
There's one right here.
Rebecca's
Okay,
email or
you need this?
anybody's email, can
No, I
sign
have that.
Jim.
Okay.
can you-
No, the
PowerPoint?
PowerPoint has listed the different libraries I talked to and their information. Is there any way you can pull that up, Mark? From maybe the email that I sent?
Would you like me to go back to my desk and send the email to you?
If you don't mind.
Not at all. I should be able to find that.
I just found it to be easier so that we all look at the
Sure.
same information.
All right. So while we're waiting for her to do that, should we move on to the meeting site options?
Sure.
Yes,
That'd be good.
And that's you again?
it's me again. But I understand from Jim that there is a space issue, so I guess I'm open to whatever is available. And if anybody else is not concerned about it, then that's fine too. I don't care. It was just it was a thought I had off the top of my head, and
Well, if it's all right, I'll just kind of run down the response that I had as far as trying to come up with a solution to help, if that's okay with you, all right? The issue came up of how can we get the board and myself and everybody out to see the other libraries, you know, besides just right here in Camdenton, and you know, like I say, we're spread throughout the county. I mean, to get from Climax Springs to Stoutland in a day's time, you'd better pack a lunch. So, and you know, it would be beneficial for the people to get to meet the board members. I agree 100%. There are some reasons why it's so hard to do, because it comes into logistics primarily. Our libraries in Stoutland, Climax Springs, and Sunrise Beach don't have the facilities we have here with a big boardroom. The only two that really have a boardroom that's sufficient is here and in Osage Beach. Having said that, even the one in Osage Beach, we have some issues with connectivity if we want to continue to broadcast the meetings.
Can't we hook up to that tower?
Don't start now. Yeah. We'll have you hold the little.
I'll
thing.
climb up on top and hold the
Okay.
wire.
All right. Well, that's settled then. Good. So you know, there are some things. Also, distance. You know, I know that the board members are volunteers, folks. They're volunteering their time for this. They're not here making a fortune doing this. And you know, to drive to Stoutland or to drive to Climax Springs would take a pretty good chunk of their day, especially if we decided to continue to have them at 9 a.m. So that's another issue. Now, there are some possible solutions. We could alternate between Camdenton and Osage Beach. Like I say, we could try it. If we had the meeting without the live video, that wouldn't be a problem at all to have it in Osage Beach. We could also perhaps have one or two board members, if they chose to and wanted to pick a date, go out and just go out and meet the public at any one of these sites. And I'm sure the branch manager would be more than happy to do that if you wanted to go out and just, you know, have kind of a meet and greet and talk to the communities about their local libraries. That, you know, we'll support you any way we can on that. Basically, you know, if we need to, if there's a reason why we think we need a bigger venue, maybe we could work with the schools or some of the you know, different community groups like the Elks or you know, Optimists, where they might meet, and maybe they could give us some space to do something like that as well. So, you know, we're open to suggestions. It's just that, you know, being, you know, rural areas, it really is a logistic nightmare in some cases. But like I say, I'm open to suggestions. I personally would like to see maybe some of the board members take the time to go out and have a meet and greet, and we'd be happy to support any of you that wanted to do something like that, you know.
On that note, I have gone out to Osage Beach and checked those guys out, talked to the staff there, some of the staff there. One of the issues with traveling around to all the other libraries is I think I'm the only one here that has not retired. So I am not only doing this for free as a volunteer, I am losing money because I don't get paid for while I'm here, plus my travel time. I do live about halfway between here and Osage Beach, so either one of those sites would be about the same for me.
Just find it.
Okay.
Sorry
And
for
I
the
know
delay.
Adam lives
Took me a
slightly
minute to
closer to
find it.
Osage
Here's
Beach,
your
but
notes
again,
so
that's
far.
not a big deal. The biggest thing
Oh, thank
is
you.
the resources here to have the meeting. We've got the room, we've got the technology, we've got the connectivity, and we have Martin College, so.
I'm just
Yeah,
listening.
and that's
okay.
another
I could've done
piece
that
for
with my
me
phone,
in
but
that
I was more
when
proficient with my phone.
I'm pulling
I don't trust
our
these.
resources to do these things out and sending them out, that's a day shot for them, that things that they could be doing here as well. So
Exactly.
logistically, you know, in a perfect world, I'd love to be able to do it, you know, and maybe, you know,
Oh, I agree.
who'd have thought we had Zoom meetings, you know, 5 years ago? So, you know, maybe technology will catch up with us, you know, but like I say, right now, you know, I know some of you right in the middle of the World Series will have it go down on you and you're thinking, good grief, there it was. You know, believe it or not, we have the same problem at the libraries. So, yeah, but like I say, we're willing to work with you all, however you want to do it, we can help you, okay? That outreach, again, I think is very important, and I want the people in the rural communities to know that, you know, we're here and we will do whatever we can. If you have an issue and you need to talk to us, my door is always open. I know the board is more than willing to listen to you all too, so that's why we hold these meetings.
So, as it stands, this is the best place to have the meetings as far as I'm concerned, so.
And I would love to go to the boardroom, comfy chairs, we can actually see each other. That's what I don't like about this.
Right.
I can't see
Yeah,
everybody
Yeah, I
all
was
the time.
thinking we could V-shape it or something. but-
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, could we move to the boardroom?
Hey, you're the board, I work for you.
I would like to try to do that.
Especially in light of the fact that.
Right. This
we-
is a lot of extra work to set this up,
Sure.
too.
You know, the thing is with the boardroom, it just depends on what we have in the way of
Public.
audience, yeah. You know, if we have 50 people in here, then it'd get a little crowded in there, but,
Fun.
yeah. it would be
Can we zoom out to here if we have
What's that?
a whole, if we moved to the boardroom and a whole bunch of people showed up for public stuff, could we
Yep.
have the public in here and zoom them?
It would be hard to move all that quickly.
Mark can do it.
Oh, I know they're both battery
We
talented.
can do it, it's
If we were
just,
set up with a live stream, we have the live stream played in here.
Yeah.
Sorry, the projector's fighting me here. I don't know if it's the batteries here, or if it's locked up.
It's lit up, it's just taking its time.
Let's see.
Got a lot of technology.
Again,
Well, I can, you know, in light of our discussion, I'm perfectly fine with it here. I don't have a problem. It was just a thought that I
yeah,
threw out.
no,
there.
and, you know, I agree with you. The outreach to me is very important to help. And I think that's, you know, something that we just need to look at and work on. You know, again, I would love nothing more than to be able to transfer this whole facility to Stoutland for a week and over to
Well,
Climax Springs, you
yeah,
know,
and-
it would be great. And it, you know, to share with you, you know, we're not all linked closely together as far as utilities and internet and all of that. You know, it's pretty interesting how the whole thing works behind the scenes. You know, we had a transformer go out and it knocked out the phones at Climax Springs and Stoutland, and the transformer was here. So every
right.
day's kind of a new world, but when you go to pay the bills and look at, you know, we've probably got, 4 different utility companies and
least, yeah.
at least 3 different phone companies, and yeah, it gets pretty interesting. But like, that's no excuse. Anything we can do, like I say, if a couple of you at a time want to go and set something up, be happy to be there and help you get that done, okay?
I'd be happy to do that. I've visited everyone but Climax Springs and Stoutland. And it's just fun to get out there and see the libraries.
It
I
is.
love
it
it.
is.
Yeah.
I
And
do.
find
It's just
out
finding
really
the time now
the
to
role the
do it.
library plays.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Right.
I think one of the things you'll see too is the clientele is, you know, you go from, you know, here in Osage Beach is very much tourist and urban, and then you go to someplace like Climax Springs and Stoutland and some of the other places, it's a whole different, you know, it's more rural, more agrarian. So, yeah, you can see why the patrons have different needs. And we're here to meet those needs, so.
So that brings me up to another thing. Jay had mentioned about connecting to the Camden County website. If we have a lot of tourists, which we will, and I was one way back when and wanted to know where the library was because I needed it for the weekend. How about connecting to the local Chamber of Commerce's also?
We
If
are members of the chamber.
Right. Are you connected with them with a live hotspot? I don't think so. And maybe even with the Board of Realtors on the east side and on the west side?
Okay,
That might be very, very helpful.
okay.
Yes, that brought up something I was thinking about also. Once a year at the, they have a local business expo up in Lake of the Ozarks.
And in Lurie with Lake West, we have them there
Okay.
too.
And I've seen just about everything there except for the library. I don't know if it actually costs to have a booth
It
there.
does. It does.
And I-
$250 for nonprofit.
Okay.
And that's gonna go up at the expos.
We have done that before,
Yeah.
we just haven't done it in several years, but we have done the one over at, in Osage.
Yeah.
or
Sorry to
Ozark.
keep interrupting you, but I want you to just have that information
Uh-oh, she's got the
quick.
hammer. She's got the
Yeah, it
stick.
does cost to
Those
do it.
Kick back on.
Those
we
are-
might be okay.
those are good.
Mhm.
Good. We'll follow up.
So what
Thank
does it
you.
cost? I'm sorry, I didn't get the number. How much is it to be in the program, 200?
Oh, I don't know.
What
Oh.
now?
How much was it for a nonprofit?
$250.
$250 last year.
$250. Wow.
$250. And that depends upon if you're inside the expo or on the outside edge of the expos, too. And the Camdenton one pretty much deals with household things. That's pretty much with how to repair, redo your home, and more business
And we do
related.
have, our link is on funlake.com or the convention, or
Yeah, Fun Lake is good.
we
But
have a link there.
do you belong to the area chamber of
Yes, ma'am.
commerce? So
All
all
the
three?
all the local
All
chambers.
three,
Mhm.
okay, good, good.
Camdenton, Lake Area, and the.
Lake West.
Lake West.
Mhm. Okay, good.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank
Yay.
you
Look at those
guys
tech
very
people.
much.
Woo! Give that guy a raise, or both of them.
Okay, so the first one is the Kansas City, obviously.
Are we on this now?
It should work.
So what they're,
This is,
And-
okay, Kansas City.
yeah, the tuition support is, it's 300 per credit hour for up to 6 hours per year for academic coursework towards a job or other library-related courses. Employee must have completed 6 months of employment before eligible. It seemed like, I'm like, wow, that's really different than ours, and
That's almost nothing.
Yeah, so I went to another, and you can go forward.
Becky, was that
Oh, there's
Kansas
the
City,
loan.
Kansas, or Kansas City, Missouri? Because
It's
the others are
Missouri.
like Johnson County, okay.
I believe it's
That
Missouri.
would be Missouri, you're right.
So then they have, I'll let you guys read it, I don't really need to read it, but, again, you can go forward, Jay. Now we have the Springfield Greene County Library. This one is pretty extensive. They've spent a lot of time putting this together and how they pay their employees. They get really wordy. I don't know that as far as all of their, some of this, I'll let you read it. I don't know that, I did like that there is no guarantee that there will be money for candidates every year. We as in Camden County, we are very blessed that we do have enough funding coming in. But if something would fail, or we'd have a large expense of some sort, we may not have that money.
Which are coming up now.
Yeah, and so I just feel like we didn't have that in our bylaws, and I think that it was something, and we'll go to it later, but that was something I added. Again, look at what they pay for an A is 50%, B is for, I mean, it just goes down. So they do pay at a much lower rate than we do. Go ahead and,
Before we move on,
Okay.
I worked for a company, I don't know, a lifetime ago, that did tuition reimbursement, and it was 90% for an A, it was 50% for a B, and it was nothing for a C or less.
right.
Because if you didn't excel, why should they pay for it?
And
Kind
that
of like
was,
a parent.
that was my thought at the beginning, and I will be honest. I had to talk to some other people who had been involved in a lot of college. My daughter-in-law was one. She has a master's degree. She said that wasn't really, she said, it doesn't mean that they're not attentive or really trying. She said there are just some subjects out there that are very difficult. And I don't know what those subjects are. So I was a little hesitant to completely knock out
Right.
the amount for a C, because it may be a difficult subject that they have to take. And
But what most of these are undergraduate and graduate programs. So
Yeah.
many of the undergraduate programs that they have to take, like foreign language or, maybe a math class or something like that. Many students, and I taught at a college for years, so I can talk to this.
Good.
Many students do not excel at that, and many do excel.
Yeah, and some people just
So
don't
I
test
would-
well, although they,
Yeah, oh, that's true. That's
they
true.
learn very well.
Right,
My-
but
my-
testing's not well.
My brother's an example, he's a master electrician, every year he has to go
Mhm.
take the
Yes.
test. And he sucks at tests, but he's one of the best master electricians, you
Right,
could ever hire.
Right. So I think that I would not agree with taking away the C. The
Right.
D and the F, yeah, I'd leave it. and
Yeah, I just threw it out there.
Yeah.
I will make a point that out of the 4 people that we've had use this program since 2017, we've never had anybody with a C. They've all
Good.
been A's and B's.
Now, do they do graduate or undergraduate?
They were
Or both?
undergraduate,
Undergraduate?
all of them
Okay,
up to
good.
this point.
Okay, good.
If I could add one more piece in here as well. I sat on several different boards with scholarship committees and that sort of thing. And again, I know people are tired of hearing it, but ever since COVID, things have gone haywire, as far as, kids don't even take an SAT or an ACT. And what we saw happen a lot was courses shifted from a four-point grade scale, A, B, C, D, to systems where it was simply pass-fail.
Right.
And I noticed that in one of these, and I apologize, Rebecca, I don't remember which one it was. It might have been the Kansas City one. You had the option of, if you got a A, you got 75%, and a B, 50, and so on and so forth. But then they also had, if you had a pass-fail course, you got 75% if you passed it. Well, the catch-22 there is that a lot of the colleges have shifted to giving you the option of either taking a grade or a pass-fail. Well, you'd have to be out of your mind if it's a difficult class to say, I'll just take pass-fail and get to 75% as opposed to taking a C in accounting. So,
Right.
That's another thing that you have to look at. The only other comment I have is that you saw on there that they had a dollar amount per credit hour. I would recommend that what we would put into a policy would be whatever the going rate is at the University of Missouri, because I know that the private colleges, that's what they base theirs on to be competitive with the public school. And so if we put a dollar amount in, every time the university changes their tuition rate, we'd be changing the policy. So it'd be a lot easier just to go generic and say whatever that is.
Because you're also looking at online classes too, because I know a lot of
Right.
classes are online and they're not, I almost hate to say it, University of Missouri or KU or something like that,
Right.
And the prices differ
Yes, they
so very
Right.
much for each college.
But I
And the thing I'm worried about too with this, do you check on your current policy to see that they are accredited colleges? Because there are so many online that are not
Oh, yeah.
accredited right
Yeah.
now.
And I think that needs to be in there too, that it is an accredited, I'm trying.
Institution.
North Central, yeah, I'd
Right.
say is what we have
Right,
to use as the
yes.
criteria, yeah.
And on the current one, can they work on a degree while working here full-time?
Yes, that's how we've done.
Do they work, like, let's say I'm an employee and I don't have anybody in the library right now, so I'm going to work on my college class.
No.
Okay. Thing you need to keep in mind, they can be reimbursed for up to 10, according to this paper that, thank you, Becky, put together, reimbursed up to 10 credit hours per semester. That's a lot.
That's a lot,
That's
yes.
a lot of hours. If you're working full-time, and I'm gonna put in there, have a family or have friends or whatever, that's a full load to be reimbursed for 10 hours per credit. So I would
Well,
really,
it's up to.
I understand up to,
But
but
actually, full-time
it's
is,
16 hours.
well, it's 12 with the 8-week sessions
Right.
at Columbia, right.
So that's quite a load for people, and a lot of people can handle it, but there are people who can't. But I would just, that's one thing I would look at.
That's what that's why I had that highlighted on my
Uh-huh.
thing, because I wasn't sure. It seemed like a lot of credits that, I don't know, that most people I know maybe get 4 credits, 5 credits in, you know.
What?
The people I know that
Uh-huh.
have gone to school,
Uh-huh.
4 or 5 credits is all they can handle.
Right.
We did
So-
6 credits per 8-week session, 2 classes every 8 weeks
Mhm.
online at Columbia.
Mhm.
So that ended up to be, that is full-time.
Right.
And worked full-time. Now Columbia does it around the year, I think they have 6 sessions
Right.
now instead of 5 sessions,
And
correct?
that's the catch-22 here as well, because it's not just them. More and more of these colleges are going to these condensed semesters, if you will. Traditionally, it would have been 15 hours in the fall and 15 hours in the spring, for a total of 30 hours per year. Now, what they've done is they've eliminated even the break between semesters. They do 5 semesters a year, and you literally finish a class on Friday and Monday in your other class.
Right.
Now, doing that, by compressing that, what it allows the students to do is they're taking, a full load would be 6 hours for 8 weeks. And you'd have to have permission to go beyond that 6-hour limit from the college, and they very rarely did that. But you get your 30 hours, but it's spread out throughout a year. They're going in the summertime, they're going all the times that traditionally you'd go, from August until May. Now they run completely through the year. So it's just something to consider in putting together a policy. I'd rather see it be somewhat more generic to take into account if somebody goes to a traditional college or non-traditional. And then, like you said, that's a great point, University of Phoenix or something, there's so many of these online programs that we're gonna have to really, you'd have to vet them.
Right.
Could I add one more thing here? I noticed that,
Well, do you mind?
Sure, go
Real
ahead.
quick, if we
Yeah.
could just kind of quickly
Oh,
go
yeah,
through it?
yeah,
And then
go
I
right
would
ahead.
like to compare what
sure.
we
Go.
have.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll just, employees will repay. Now, this is if, for some reason, they terminate
Right.
their schooling.
Yeah, they have to reimburse
So, yes, so this kind of breaks it down. I kind of followed that in the one I put together, and I don't think that we really addressed it significantly in our old policy. So go ahead and go forward. Again, this is just notifying that anybody who wants to go has to deal with Jim or the library director or human resources, so go ahead.
Click, or,
Okay, a preliminary work plan. You guys, we pretty much discussed all of this, so move on. That's just through Springfield. So I did talk to Lebanon also. They do not offer at all. They don't have the funding for reimbursement for tuition. So now at this point, I would like us to look and compare, and this is where we can definitely discuss the comparisons between what we currently have to what I'm suggesting. And we can tweak it, however, you know, we agree on. I'm not, this is just was a suggestion. So I changed our policy will reimburse 100% for passing and fail. And we also pay 100% for an A or B. And
80% for a C.
yes. I lowered it, I feel like in this economic times and the changes, I lowered this to reflect some of what we've seen. Maybe not quite as high as what we have in the past done, but I don't know if anybody has any comments about the A, B, and C.
If you have your accredited college, then you're okay with your A, B, C. But if you're doing how am I gonna say this?
Well, our program calls for it, the program must be a public institution that offers in-state tuition rates, so that means
Right.
anything that's in Missouri,
Now,
right?
why does it have to be a public?
I think, where does
Can
it
it be a
say?
private school that you go to?
As
Sure,
long as it's accredited.
right.
Okay,
Accredited school.
okay.
So maybe change the verbiage on that from public to accredited.
Where
Is-
we at?
I'm looking
Where are
for
we
it.
on this one? I only wanna know.
We're jumping back and forth.
Okay. Good.
Okay,
We're playing leapfrog.
1 year may apply for a tuition reimbursement of courses leading to a master library science degree or another approved graduate program. And maybe that we need to put in there accredited or undergraduate degree in an area of specialization as identified and required.
My question on that what would those be? Excuse me, what programs would those be? If you're going for an undergraduate, can you get an undergraduate degree anywhere, like elementary ed, physical science, any of that will you pay for that? How do you know that that's specific to library until you get to your master's?
And I'm glad you brought this up because this is probably gonna be a sticking point with me. We have certain positions here where a library science degree would be fine. But if I wanna replace Vicky,
Right.
I'm not gonna do that tomorrow, but I might, you know.
Oh,
If
no,
I
you're
wanted
not.
If I wanted to replace Vicky,
do better.
who handles the books, somebody with an undergraduate degree in accounting or business management might be more qualified for that position. If it was Coley, where she handles marketing, somebody with a degree in marketing would be better. If it was Mark, who handles the technical end, computer science. So I would think that we'd want to keep it somewhat fluid,
How generic can?
more generic, so that we can, the director, whoever it is, can make the decision whether or not that degree would be applicable. Because here again, we need to look down the road. You know, who would have thought that technology got where it is today?
Right.
I mean, you could have walked into a library 50 years ago and said, this guy's a tech guy. And they just said, and, you know, well, we'll have him, you know, shovel the parking lot when it snows or something. But now,
You up for that?
New unassigned duty.
yeah,
Do that.
that's other duties as assigned. But I think that's, you know, in putting these together, we need to look to the future, because who knows what
Right.
backgrounds and skills and knowledge we'll need for some of these positions.
So instead of putting on there for the Master of Library Science degree, you could put programs approved by the director and anybody else, or just by the director? I think you need to look
I
at
think,
that.
and then the director would submit it to the board for approval.
Okay.
That's the way it needs
Yeah.
to be, yeah.
Yeah, because what if Mark, who wants to continue his education in IT, wants to take another class, or if he wants to broaden his skills into marketing?
Right.
You know, it's still something that the library
That we
needs and the
could
library
use.
would want.
Absolutely.
And if he could cross between the two of them, it would be even better.
Right. Well, and the bottom line is this is a big business. And so there's so many things,
is.
you know, like you said, you know, we might, you know, I don't even know, and this is something else I was gonna throw on the table. What if we had somebody like one of our maintenance people said, I have an opportunity to go to a 2-year program to be an electrician? An electrician here in our maintenance staff would be pretty handy some days as opposed to outsourcing.
Right.
So that, you know, I'm just, and you know, I'm not saying any one of these things, but I'm just saying we need to keep it
These were
somewhat.
just suggestions, I'm
Yeah.
totally open.
Yeah, but I'm
not-
just saying from a generic standpoint is the way we
Yes.
probably ought to look at it.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't want to list necessarily leading to a degree,
Right,
Right.
because it could just be for enhancement in their, whatever they're doing.
right.
So
And
when,
then the
on
one
our
other-
current policy, then it does say, program must be accredited by a widely recognized accrediting agency. For library science, the program must be accredited by ALA. So,
That is one of the programs,
That-
yeah.
I don't agree with that, and
No.
to me, the accrediting agency goes back to what you said earlier.
Yes.
It should be North Central. North Central accredits both
Right.
private and public schools in Missouri.
Right.
so then that would be where we're discussing the difference between the two, and they both kind of are not generic enough, and we just need to tweak it.
Absolutely, exactly.
Okay, so which one are we gonna work off to make the corrections, or are you gonna do that and then submit it again?
Yes, I'll do it, and then I'll submit it again.
Perfect, thank you.
I have another question too. How are you notified of a grade? When a student one of your employees takes a class, how are you notified of a grade? Because you are not legally able to go to the registrar to get
Right.
the grade.
They submit it,
They submit
The
it.
student
Okay.
themselves has to submit
Okay.
it.
yeah.
And it's after the fact too, so it's
Right.
not like,
Right.
you know, we're gonna pay them
Can
upfront.
can this money that you are giving to them is it to be used only for tuition? You know, like if you have Pell
Yes.
Grant, you can use it for anything in the world. So just tuition, is it paid directly to the college?
No,
No,
like
it's-
the
It's
student,
reimbursed to the student.
To the
Right.
students, okay?
Yeah, that was one of the things in here, didn't I see where they could use it for the books or classroom related? If I remember something on there.
There
because
was, I
it's-
think,
it's- Yeah, it's not only the course, but there's the books and the materials that you need for the course.
well, I guess,
Because, and that leads to a whole,
Another wormhole.
whole different question here. Let's say that I got a Pell Grant, I have lots of money in scholarships, everything's paid for, but yet I'm still applying to the library to get my tuition.
No, there
reim-
isn't.
Okay,
I don't
reimbursed for that. You can use your Pell Grant to pay for your room, your board, your babysitting, your back and forth, your food, whatever you want to do. But how do you know, and I know it says that they should supply scholarship information to
Right.
you. You just are assuming then, I'm trying to think
they
where I'm
have
gonna
to
go
be
with this.
truthful.
That they're, yes, but
Well,
you're
if-
just
If they're
assuming,
using it to pay for the room and board and stuff, they're on campus and they're going to school full-time and they're not working full-time.
Right.
My wife took an AS and a BS, and for 6 years, I did all the cooking, cleaning, laundry, everything, while she got up in the morning, drove to work, drove to college, came home and sat at her computer for 6 to 8 hours doing her homework, and then passed out.
she's very lucky, because a lot of people don't have that when they go to college. They
Right.
do it all. But I just want to know, if the money is only used for tuition, then again, it's reimbursed back to the student. So the student has to know where they spread out all of their funds. Okay. Then, when a student withdraws from college, they pay back the amount to the library, right? How are you going to make sure that that is implemented?
payroll deduction, take it
Okay.
out of their payroll.
I didn't even think about that, thank you. What if they terminate their employment with you?
That's where we're gonna wind up with a headache, you know,
Right.
and I know other programs, I think my wife's company had a program like that and had the exact same thing, where the students, you know, would drop out, quit, you know, transfer to another company, And then there you are, I guess it gets to the point, or is it worth spending the money to hire an attorney to get back $500? But if they've gotten you for, 10,000 maybe, but that would be a headache. But again, I think a lot of this is gonna fall on the judgment of the director and the board to determine who you're going to grant this to.
And they don't get the money until after they've completed their coursework.
That's exactly right. So, but if, we have this requirement that they have to work so many years or whatever afterwards.
Right.
And they decide we're out,
Right.
that's gonna be a problem.
So,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, I changed it from originally 2 years, I thought, to 3, because I was thinking a 4-year college term. And, but in listening, maybe that's not a good,
It would, in the real world, if everything was perfect, it would be great. But what my wife's company ran into is they would say, well, it was in the medical profession, the university and all this, there was a shortage of nurses, and they'd say, we'll give you a $10,000 signing bonus. Well, so what, right? So they'd walk off and come after me if you want to. I owe you $2,500, but they'd take the $10,000 signing bonus, and then it became whether or not you want to pursue that person.
so
I mean,
how do we
you could put it
protect
down.
ourselves? Because even if you hire a new person, we all know it takes a year for them to be actually useful in their position. I mean, it's a learning curve that first year. So, we're investing a lot of time and effort into these employees. So how do we make it?
Well, my thoughts on that as well. I personally like the idea of having this as an incentive for employees. I think the board has already seen I like to promote from within. What we do here is a lot more complicated than it looks, and it's a lot of it, like you said, aren't things that they're gonna learn in college. They're learning on the job and also at the school. To me, that knowledge that they've gained here, working through the system with with Evergreen and Morenet and all the different things they have to know, that's very valuable. And if I can get an incentive for them to go on and get an undergraduate degree on top of the knowledge that they have here, that is a much more valuable employee for me than to hire somebody off the street that has a degree, and then I've got to teach them all of the other things that are involved internally. So if I can get that hybrid to where we can be graduating people that already, now they've got the degree and you already know how to do these things, it opens up a lot more options for us as a library and library board to move people around and put them in places. And again, I look around and I see a lot of baby boomers in our staff, and my thing is I want to be able to grow our own if we can, and if this would help, then I'm in favor of it. But this is a call on the board's part.
Well, historically, you said 4 people so far have used this program. What happened to those 4 people? Still here?
The one's there.
There
Yeah.
you go.
There's another
And
one there.
Karen, our branch manager, she didn't use the program. She didn't need to. She got some type of grants, I suppose. Debbie in processing, and then Shauna got her associate's degree in
She's
just a
in
couple weeks
Osage,
ago.
she's in Osage Beach, yes.
I have another little devil's advocate thing here.
Okay.
So let's say that I'm gainfully employed here, and I've been employed for a year, and I've completed now my college, because I went on fast track. My husband gets transferred, so I have to leave here to follow him. Do I have to reimburse Camden County Library since I didn't fulfill my 3 years?
Yes.
Again,
I would think so.
I would think
think so.
it's like any other contract you
Okay.
signed, yeah.
Okay, that might need to be stated somewhere.
Sure, absolutely.
What I think it is, maybe not
But
on
if
our,
you leave, yeah, but.
Ours
on
is the current
sometimes
policy.
there's
Yeah, it has something in there even,
circumstance, yeah.
but then if, you know, we have an exception like for catastrophic illness or I think it was
Oh, yeah.
military or
our
something like
current
that.
policy is 2 years.
2 years.
Right.
And
Mhm.
because of the 1 year we lose, I had upped it to 3. You know, maybe that's illogical, I don't know.
And this says the 2 year, if someone resigns within 2 years, they would reimburse the last 2 semesters.
Right.
And
And I
I-
think on this one, they break it down. If an employee resigned within 12 months of completing their class, they would have to pay 100%. If an employee left within 13 to 29 months, which would be 2.5 years, they would have to pay 75%, and then it goes down to 25% because you've almost got 3 years in. So, I guess
That's a little bit more detailed in it.
it's a little
Very
bit more
detailed, yeah.
detailed.
And sometimes you're better off if you're not quite so detailed.
And, you know, I don't know, I was just looking at.
You
I-
have
I'm
done a
just
great
these
job getting all the information.
Suggestions, so it's up to you guys. I mean, I'm just throwing out there my own thoughts.
And then is there a payment plan? You know, I've gone through my college, I had to leave for one reason or another, and do I have to pay you all back within a certain time frame, or can I make payments to you? That might be something that might be addressed also, if you choose, if we choose.
I think that would be a case by case that the board or the director would take care of, because, I mean, we're not, you know, we're not vultures going, you know, I don't care if you're completely bankrupt and you're, you know, living on cat food, pay us back.
Yeah.
I mean-
Or just like something to think about.
Yeah.
Well, I think key here too, for the public's benefit, is we're not talking about giving somebody a free ride, $60,000 a year scholarship. This is per credit hour. We'll have control over what we approve, you know, and, you know, even in the case of the 8-week sessions, in any 8-week session, you're only talking 6 credit hours. So, you know, it's never gonna get to the point where it's this huge amount per student that we're gonna be, you know, at any given point, like you said, have the catch-22 that we can cut it off. And what I like about the policy that we do have here is that, you know, if there's an on-the-job accident, active military service, library-initiated change, we may change something that causes them not be able to continue. So those things, catch-22s are to me, I'm happy with what we currently have, but I think that the per credit hour will give us a lot more control over what we grant and what we don't grant.
So instead of semester hours, we want to just go per credit hours.
I think that would be, that's what we're saying now, isn't it, in that, no?
Well, no, we will pay up to 10 semester credit.
Yeah, 10, yeah, that, I'm saying we pay by credit hour
Yes.
up to this amount.
Yes.
Yeah, and so
Not a
that,
dollar amount per credit hour.
right.
So we want it to be 6 credit hours.
No, not
I'd
necessarily.
leave it up to at
No.
least 10.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean,
well, that's what
And
we
that's
had,
not
and that's
going
what I was.
full-time. 12 would be going
12
full-time.
would be full-time.
Yeah, I don't remember what
Okay.
my wife was doing while working, but man, she had it took her, I think 3 years to do a 2-year course because she was doing it reasonably part-time.
So actually then, other needed qualifications, the reimbursement program, that would stay the way it is. If we're all looking at the same.
Yes.
Credit per semester, yeah, that's credit hours.
10?
Yeah,
We went 10?
I'd leave it at 10.
Okay,
I mean, it's up to, they could be doing 2, they could
Right,
be doing 8,
exactly.
they could be doing 10, but, you know, after that, I mean, if you're doing more than 10 credit hours, you're basically a full-time student and you can't work here full-time.
Let
You
me-
can.
People
Let me,
do.
let me
People do.
play devil's advocate again here, because again, I'm looking down the road, okay? Define a semester. If you'd have defined a semester 10 years ago, that would have been, you know, 4 months and 15 hours.
Right.
A semester now could be 8 weeks and
Yeah, 6 to 8
6
weeks.
Right, right.
16, either one.
So should semester be struck out? Just say credit hours?
Or it should say probably 16-week semester.
Based on a 16-week semester.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. That's kind of how it was, the intention, because a semester is 16 weeks, but these accelerated classes like you said.
Semester is 8 weeks.
8 weeks, well,
So there's the conundrum. If you say a semester and a student says, well, I'm gonna take 10 hours in this next 8 weeks, does that qualify?
I'm sorry,
Okay, if you're at an 8-week session, and it's not just Columbia College folks, it's, all of them are doing it now.
uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
If you say 10 hours a semester, then you're telling that student that they can take up to 10 hours in an 8-week session and be reimbursed.
No,
I'm saying that's the way it reads. so.
that's the way, right, maybe.
Right.
I say we just leave it vague of the credit hours, leave semester completely out of there.
Okay.
We're gonna have to put something in there,
Well,
either a
like-
year or, right, Jim, you know
Well-
more about this?
Well, if
You're the
you're,
college professor.
I would say 6 hours on an 8-week session
So was I.
and up to, what would it be, 12 hours on a 16-week session, right? Or say up to, yeah, that's the way you'd have to do it. I mean, if you want to.
Right now, this is based on 8-week sessions, 16-week semester.
Right.
So if we need to change that, it wouldn't be a bad idea to clarify it some way, I guess.
Like I say, I'm playing devil's advocate. You get that student walks in and says, I'm taking 10 hours in 8 weeks. Yeah, if they manage to get the college to approve them doing it, we're on the hook for that.
Yeah, and that would be almost impossible.
Right.
Yeah. 6 hours per 8-week session is about.
Maybe it would just be easier to say, we will pay, for X number of credit hours per year to be done with it. And then you can just say,
Could you
that
do-
way, we don't have to hash out if they're doing 6 weeks or 8 weeks or
Right.
Yeah,
whatever.
'cause we want to stay a little bit on the generic side,
Yes.
so we don't have to
Right.
change it. And you're
If we
right,
do it on a year's basis, on a yearly basis, up to this many hours, then you've got it.
right.
Maybe just hours approved by the director.
That would even be better.
Because
Yes.
you know what you know what they are capable of doing. You'll hear
Right.
whether or not they're doing their job also with going to
Well, and that
school.
would also give us the flexibility if,
Right.
God forbid, we have a catastrophic event where we don't have the funding. then-
Right.
Well,
Maybe
and then
just-
that goes back to the top part of, won't exceed 1% of the total revenue, and there may not be
Right.
funding available.
Right.
right.
I would also like to see the A be back up to 100%, not 75%. You inspire loyalty by being loyal.
Okay.
The happier you can make your employees, typically the happier the employee is going to be.
I like that too.
Questions
Can
for
I
Jill?
make a comment?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Personal experience, what if Chloe wants to be an RN? And your purpose here is to educate your employees, incentive to hire people. So she goes for 4 years, she becomes an RN, she has to, according to this, repay
If she
her
quits.
tuition if she quits here, well, she's not gonna stay here if she's an RN.
Well, and then that goes
Are you
back to
saying-
the approved, for the library.
Yes, my
Because pe-
company took out the reimbursement totally. Their lawyers were hunting down employees, trying to get their money back, and it was a big waste of time.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
So I'm just throwing that out there.
Very
I
good.
mean, what is your purpose to
yeah, well, that,
get people in here, motivate them, educate them for the community?
Yeah,
Or
right.
just for the library system?
right now it says, Master of Library Science Degree Program, which, we've decided should actually be something
Program
job-related,
approved
library
by-
related. So, yeah, if she wants to be an RN, that's not anything to do with the library, so no, the library
never
should
be
not.
Sorry,
approved.
Rolly, not gonna be an RN.
I'm sorry, I don't need to pass off the Zoom.
I'm looking more to what Jim's thinking,
Yes.
is to get employees in here, educate the
Yeah.
community.
Yeah,
As part of your goal.
Absolutely,
But
but,
it has to be related to the library system,
Something that, it has to be a degree that the library can utilize.
business.
right, Yeah, so if Coley wanted to learn IT as well, or if she wanted to learn how to be the director of the library, those are things that are definitely related to the library. And so those are things that, yes, the library would be nice to reimburse those people.
For their, something that's related to their
Just saying,
current
we fought the
position or
reimbursement. and
advancement
it
within.
wasn't
I
worth it.
Or
understand what you're
advancements within, very good, yes, I like that verbiage.
And like I said, her company, I know for a fact that became a huge headache because when the signing bonuses came, people that they had paid to get their RNs and LPNs and all, they fled in droves and they said, good
It
luck.
wasn't just that, Jim. I had nurses go to school, become an RN, and then they left the next month.
Right.
That's
Went to
terrible.
Lake Hospital.
Yeah,
Well, because they knew that we weren't gonna fight it, the lawyers were tired of fighting it. So just throwing that out there, whatever.
No, that's good.
Good.
You can
Thank
pursue
you.
it, but
Yeah.
So could we look at this policy that we have and then come back next month with more comments on it?
Oh, I think it's,
And Becky, thank you so much for putting this together.
Absolutely.
yes, good job.
And if you need any
Good job.
research, if you need any help, I can give you some information of past art. Even if
Okay.
you need me to research something, I'll be more than happy to help you with that. So we need.
I would like to ask, is it the board's intent to continue with some sort of reimbursement program, or is the option to just do nothing? Has the decision been made to keep a reimbursement program?
My recommendation would be to keep it. I think it's very, very important to
Yes.
have that.
I agree.
Very important to have
Same.
it.
it's just a matter of how much. I don't know that I agree with 100% for an A. I just feel like people appreciate things more if they have time and money invested. They're invested in that, not only by us, but by themselves. And
Yeah,
I think
but you're investing a hell of a lot to be able to
Yes.
get an A, so you are still invested.
Right.
Speaking from experience, I didn't, just wanting to get the A or the B was what was driving me,
Yes.
Right.
you know.
Yeah, and my wife graduated with like a 3.85.
Congratulations.
I didn't,
Busted her
I
ass.
don't have
It's
to be
tough,
honest.
it's hard.
And it's,
It's like kind of going to
well,
school and
those
working
are
full-time.
details we can hash out,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
But my biggest issue was I wanted to be able to, at least, if the staff approaches me, they want to know if it's going to continue or die here. And so,
Okay.
Let's continue.
Yes, yes.
All right.
I
Thank
do.
you.
So we need a motion
Everybody's
to
in- I don't have
refer
to
this
agree.
to the next
I
meeting.
have had
Yes,
a
I will make a motion to move that to
So
the next
this is-
meeting.
This
I
has
can't
been a
make
real
one.
You have to call
learning
for one.
All right.
curve for me. This is great.
So we'll call for a motion to move this to the next meeting for.
To a continued, yes.
I would make that
Becky's-
motion that we
Becky's going
continue this.
to improve on this.
You're gonna second, Becca?
Second, yes, I'll second.
Becky, you are our committee of one. If you want any help, I'm sure every one of us would be glad to
And,
offer
yes,
suggestions.
Yeah, exactly.
I just figured, I would bring it to the table, and I was totally expecting a lot of input. So I'm more than happy to,
Good job.
to
Yeah.
take it.
And the meeting site options,
And we
is
all are
off
in
the table.
favor?
We all agree that we're just gonna stay here?
Are we all in favor of the last motion?
Yes, I
Aye.
believe we are.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Aye.
And go ahead, Jay, repeat
The
your.
meeting site options, we're all agreed that we're just gonna stay here. This is the best venue.
Aye.
Do you want that in the form of a motion, Jay?
Sure.
I'd like to make a motion that our future meetings originate in this building with our technology here.
Okay. And like today, how hard would it be, like today, we have no public? How hard would it be to grab everything and run to the conference room?
Oh,
It would probably take us, what, 15?
Seconds?
Yes.
Because you guys are that good.
15, 20 minutes to.
Well, you
get
picked it up
things-
really quick today to get this up there, so if,
It all depends on how much equipment we've got to carry back, if we can leave some equipment up here.
now's the
I mean,
time.
by that case, we're only with one camera.
Please do.
We're down to two laptops. We wouldn't, it's just a matter of being able to pick up and have enough hands to pick up and go.
Yeah, and I'm sure everybody here would grab something.
Yeah.
One of-
So, I mean,
I would.
One of the things
I
I would
know
like
you.
to address that's not on the agenda but fits right into this, is it necessary to videotape every meeting? That's my question. We're really using their time that could be used in the library doing other things. And I know as far as, you know, you videotape this, you download it, you put it out onto the internet. Is that necessary to have that, or just to print the minutes? And that's something I think that we should consider and maybe bring up at the next meeting, because this is a lot of work for these two.
We can add that to the agenda next time.
I would like to add that to the agenda for next month.
Or even just tape it. You know, we have the owl, it can just, as long as it's,
it still requires from me most of the day
Okay.
after
Right.
the meeting, because then I have to render it,
okay,
download it, upload it, and then if my computer does not like me, I have to get Mark, because we have to consolidate things. Because it does, once you render it, it does expand, so it takes it from like 20 gigabytes and expands it to 60 gigabytes.
Right.
So it takes up quite a bit of room on
And
hard
time.
drives.
so would we have to just be a lot more specific on what was discussed?
No, we wouldn't have to do anything.
Not at all.
Post our minutes like we did, we've always done.
Okay,
I guess, you know, there is a history here. This, recording these meetings just really started in the last year. Prior to that, they weren't recorded. So, I mean, you can see there's not much in the way of an audience today. You know, and I don't know how many people are out there, but again, if we posted
We have 2 people watching live.
two people watching live, so again, I'm tying up a significant part of my staff. Yeah, one of them's probably Adam. But, you know, we've got, there's a lot of stuff that we need to be doing, and I'm tying up 2 key people on my staff every time that I lose a day, basically, when we
Right.
have to record these.
and I know she puts a lot of hours in, but yet there's still issues when you try to watch it, you know?
Sure.
You've got all this
That's-
time invested.
Again, that, like I said, you're taking 20 gigabytes and once you render it and everything, it expands that file to 60 gigabytes. So even with our bandwidth here, it still takes a while to upload. I can't guarantee once it's uploaded that there's not gonna be issues.
Right.
That's, you know, that's not anything.
Exactly, so how does that come across to the public? When they go to watch it, I know I was recommended, I went in and I tried to watch the,
I mean, honestly, what we've done the best we've
and I'm not
seen.
criticizing you
No, and
at all.
I understand it, but there are, you know, when you have 2 or 3 hour meetings and you have to render that, it takes almost double that to render that, and then to upload that takes almost as much time to upload that to.
Right.
And heaven forbid that if something happens and we lose connectivity or something like that, there's been a couple times where I've had, you know, when it was bad weather, I tried to do it from home, well, my bandwidth from home was not enough to upload it. So then I had, you know, we had issues of that. And then when it would upload overnight, something would get messed up there just because it was trying to work so hard to upload.
We'll just put it on the next agenda,
Yeah,
that's about
put it
all we
on-
need to say.
yeah.
I think next agenda.
I personally
Yeah.
think the printed word would be the best way to do it, and then.
I like to read it, so.
Yeah, and so, you know, I'd love to have that come up for the next one, because my recommendation would be to stop the videotaping, because I don't think there's a huge audience out there watching anyhow. And it's, for our return on our investment, it's probably not worth it.
Right.
Sorry, you
Thank
two.
you.
Okay, so Nancy, you made a motion to keep the meetings here, I need a second.
I'll second it, or you can second it, Jay, I don't.
I don't know, I'll second it.
Okay. All right. And we can put them in the boardroom.
All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye. Okay.
I'm gonna abstain. I'm gonna abstain from that vote. We're
really?
keeping them all here, yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Because if we
Well,
don't, we don't
we can
video.
redo this once after we decide at the next meeting.
Right.
yes,
Okay.
because if we're just doing written,
That's
Right.
then it can,
Exactly.
that could change.
So that
yes.
might, very well may change after the next meeting if that.
Okay,
Right.
so can we put that on hold
Table it?
For the meeting site options?
Yes.
Well, there's a motion on the floor, so MJ seconded, so we can revisit that at the next meeting, or we can rescind that motion.
Either or, yes.
What would you like to do, Nancy? Do you want to continue the discussion at the next meeting? Or
About-
would you like to rescind it?
Well, the motion was that our meetings would be in this building, that we'd stay in Camdenton.
Right.
I would like to keep that motion on the
Okay.
floor.
Okay, then we can revisit that. if we
Well, you
decide.
had 3 in favor, though.
And you abstained.
one abstained, yes.
But it was a really, and I didn't think, see, you thought ahead.
And we
of
didn't
me.
have any discussion called either. So we need to have the votes, then we need to have discussion on the votes, and then we need to,
Right.
or the motion.
We had a
the
fair
motion.
discussion on meeting site options
Earlier,
earlier, yeah.
yes, but when you called for the vote, then you should have discussion. No, you have the motion, then call for discussion, then you vote.
Okay, well, I figured we already had the discussion, so I'm sorry.
No problem.
So,
So I'll revisit my motion. And
Yes.
that is to keep meetings in the Camdenton building at this site for reasons of technology and for reasons of efficiency. And having been to Max Creek, I see it's too small to have a board meeting there. And I suspect the other 2 outlying areas, Statland and Climax, are also too small.
Well, Climax is just a little box.
And so to accommodate, our needs.
But the motion did pass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
passed.
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 Okay, so we don't have to say
Mary
anything more.
Pat, yes, you just abstained.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right, we have no public comments or agenda, so we can move on to the closed session for the building and motion.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have a motion to enter into closed session?
I'll make a motion, we enter into closed session.
I'll
Do you have
second
a
it.
time frame that you're looking at? It's usually stated how much time you look at going into closed session, in
We,
case anybody wants to come back into the meeting.
This is the last thing on the agenda there.
Right, still though.
Okay.
I don't think this should take more than about 15 minutes.
Okay, and you can always lengthen that too.
Yeah.
Once you're in it, then you have to inform the people that it's
Okay, so
lengthened.
15 minutes, and then we need a roll call vote to go in.
Okay,
Aye.
all right. Aye.
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 Okay, so we're going to stop the.